Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senator Lindsey Graham, United States Senator of South Carolina, to present the National Leadership Award to Mr. Fred Zeidman, member of the JINSA Board of Directors.
I'm from the federal government here to help you. So just be patient, Fred. Sorry I was late. It's been a crazy week. Would you agree last week? An observation about the man I'm about to honor here tonight, and you had the good judgment to honor. When I was first running for Congress in 1994, I'm the first Republican to win the 3rd Congressional District in South Carolina since 1877. Long dry spell. Strom Thurmond actually knew that guy. I didn't know him, but so in 2002, I'm the first new senator in South Carolina in 38 years. I was born the year before Senator Thurmond was elected. So we change senators every 50 years whether we need to or not, so I'm glad to be here. About Fred. So I get the nomination in a very competitive Republican primary for Congress. And I got this message that a guy from APAC wants to see me. I said, I've got insurance. I don't need to meet anybody from an insurance company. That shows you what I knew. So I met Fred early on in my political life. I can't tell you how many times I've been to his home or to the city. And like many of you here, you've made it a life work to make sure that those of us who are Republican and Democrat who support Israel, that you have our back. This organization is more relevant than any time since I've been here. The Mideast is going through transitions. All I can say to our friends in Israel, hang in there. To President Trump, thank you very much for being a reliable partner. Hey, Ron. So Israel's surrounded by chaos, and the one true North Star is the United States and U.S.-Israel relationship. I say that without animosity toward Palestinians. It's not that I'm against reasonable hopes and dreams of the Palestinian people. I'm against those in the Palestinian community who want to drive Israel into the sea. It's not that I'm against having good neighbors. I just want good neighbors to act like good neighbors. When it comes to Syria, I want the people who dismembered Syria to pay a price. Have you heard of the Golan Heights? Have you ever been to the Golan Heights? Who would Israel give it back to? Of the 3 choices, Russia's number 1. Russia, Iran, or Assad. So the stakes are high for the U.S.-Israel relationship and for the region. But here at home, there's been a few people through the arc of time who've understood the importance of this relationship. The people who want to destroy Israel want to destroy you too. Commonality. We believe in the rule of law, not the mob rule. On the Israeli Supreme Court, there's an Arab. Arabs are in the Knesset. People can choose their leaders in Israel. If you don't believe me, they change governments like every 15 minutes in Israel. So Bibi stood the test of time, which is amazing. If Israel's anything, it's a vibrant democracy where people can criticize each other. If you spend 5 minutes in Israel, you know that. So we have so much in common enemies and common values. But the one thing that I appreciate about you is appreciating those in the United States who have gotten it for a very long time. Fred has been my friend for a very long time. The Zeidman family has been there for me and people like me on both sides of the aisle. So it is only fitting and proper that an organization like JINSA dedicated to the right outcomes for Israel and the world at large, that you would pick two people to honor tonight. And I've been here before honored by you, and it meant a lot to me. Mike Pompeo's a rock star. As long as he's around, President Trump's getting some really good advice. As to my friend Fred, you've been in the fight for a very, very long time, in the forefront. President Bush understood that when it came to the Holocaust Museum board, you need to be there. I remember walking through Yad Vashem with Fred and John McCain. He flew all the way over to give us a tour. There's nobody that I know who's been more consistent over time as an American citizen, understanding the value of the U.S.-Israel relationship. And above all else, he's been my friend through some of the difficult times that I've created for myself. This is a good man, and it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce to you Fred Zeidman.
Can you say that? Thank you, Senator. I have treasured every moment of our relationship. I've treasured every moment of supporting you and could never have been more proud than I have been the last couple weeks for the courage and forthright stand that you've taken. I'm honored and humbled to accept this award tonight. Before I make my remarks, I want to say that it takes a village, and my village has been my family. And of course, every village has to have a chief, and so I especially want to thank my wife, Kay. Without your love, encouragement, and guidance, I'm not sure I could have ever done anything of significance. Thank you. Tonight, as I look around this full room, I'm thinking both of the past and the future, about friends who are no longer with us, but who served our country, were committed to America's national security, and who understood that America's security is enhanced and deepened by the close bond with Israel. Senator Graham, our mutual friend, the recently departed Senator John McCain, was recognized by JINSA in December of 2006 with the Scoop Jackson Distinguished Service Award. In accepting the award, Senator McCain, an American hero whose family itself is defending America, you know, I had the great honor of spending a lot of time with Senator Graham and Senator McCain during the 2008 campaigns, one of the most phenomenal experiences of my life, stated, there's been a deep debate in recent months, not simply about the role of democracy promotion in our foreign policy, but even about the wisdom of America's pro-Israel orientation. This debate, I submit, misses the point. As Scoop knew, the bond between America and Israel is not just a strategic one, though that's very important. Today, in the war against terror, we have no stronger ally than Israel. The more profound tie between our two countries, however, is a moral one. We are two democracies whose alliance is forged in our common values. To be proudly pro-American and pro-Israeli is not to hold conflicting loyalties, as Scoop understood. It is about defending the principles that both companies hold dear. Unfortunately, the question of whether the United States should support Israel continues to plague our democracy. Thank you. There we go, now I'm fine. Mentioned that before. An anti-Israel propaganda endures and has found resonance among many in our younger generations. Just like Senator McCain and Senator Graham, just like Senator McCain, Senator Lindsey Graham is such a great American who also understands that supporting Israel strengthens America. I certainly did not know that when I wrote the first check, but I certainly felt that, and it has only continued to increase. Senator, thank you for your continued leadership and outspokenness for this great alliance. And like our friends, Senator Graham and Senator McCain, the U.S. security establishment clearly supports America's ally Israel, and that is thanks in large part to JINSA. I had never heard of JINSA before Tom Newman became executive director. Tom, another dear friend whose presence I feel tonight, gave me my first leadership role in the Jewish community, way back when he was the regional director of another organization. I followed him from group to group until he found a home at JINSA. At that time, JINSA was really only known by those in national security circles here in Washington. Yet Tom had a vision to build a national organization, and he asked me to co-chair the first JINSA fundraising dinner outside of Washington, which took place in Houston, my hometown. I remember saying in my remarks, if you don't think that Tom Newman is a force of nature, there are 500 people in that room in Houston that night, and I'll bet only Tom Newman knew what JINSA stood for. We all learned about it that night. Today, nobody has to ask what JINSA is. I doubt that JINSA had as many members in 1991 when Tom got here as there are in this room tonight. When Tom passed away after a courageous fight with Parkinson's, the JINSA board chose another very, very dear friend of mine, Dr. Michael Makovsky. I first met Mike when he was working at the Pentagon. Truly, JINSA could never have made a better choice to lead the organization to the next level. Mike is brilliant. That's all I can say. What else are you going to say? Every time he writes something or an event happens in some godforsaken corner of the world, the first call is to Mike. He can give me a full and thorough explanation of what happened, why it happened, who the actors were, and most importantly, the implications for the United States and our allies. But Tom and Mike and I share one vision, which is what JINSA is laser focused on, and that is the safety and security of both Israel and the United States. We live in very, very dangerous times. Our enemies evolve, and often as a country we can't anticipate how they will evolve. Unfortunately, or fortunately, Mr. Ambassador, Israel is the canary in the coal mine. What our enemies try to carry out against Israel, they eventually try against the United States. Israel's military and foreign affairs professionals live in a world where they cannot afford to miss a threat or a development. They are on the front lines. But as everyone has learned in the past few years, our enemies, the enemies of democracy and liberty, will not be satisfied with destroying Israel alone. They seek to destroy democracy and freedom wherever it exists. And these enemies do not fight according to the rules of engagement that govern a civilized army, or by the internationally recognized rules of war as outlined in the Geneva Conventions. Israel must meet these threats with innovation, working within those rules and laws, and it does so. By forging a relationship between the security apparatus of the United States and of Israel, JINSA makes sure that the U.S. benefits from Israel's innovations. For instance, while the U.S. is just understanding the scope of cyber threats, Israel has been on the front lines deflecting cyber attacks for years. Together, Israel and the United States have developed systems weapons, and protocols that protect and defend our countries without eroding our values or ideals. For that is the other threat, that by fighting unscrupulous actors, we lose our way and become like our enemies. I'd be remiss tonight if I did not mention the incredible importance of JINSA's policy work, the analysis of trouble spots and spots that are not yet trouble. JINSA not only identifies these areas of the world, but also works to build bridges between the U.S. and other countries like India and Turkey before this trouble percolates to the top. And that's why it's fitting tonight that JINSA also is honoring Secretary of State Michael Pompeo. Secretary Pompeo arguably has the hardest job in the administration. He obviously had to leave, but Sunday my wife said, "Do you think he's going to make it back in time?" I said, "I think he will." So he literally lives on an airplane, traveling from one region to the other to advance America's interest. He is a true friend who understands the world as it is, not only seeing how we hope it would be. On Iran, where JINSA has remained true to its course in a consistent manner, Secretary Pompeo and the administration understand and are acting, as you heard tonight, to combat the threat posed by the current regime. Not the people of Iran, but the regime that seeks to destroy Israel and the United States and is pursuing weapons and delivery systems to make that sick dream a reality. He holds no illusions about Iran's activity around the world, as you heard, and he can think in at least 3 dimensions, which is critical to a foreign policy leader in these times. I want to congratulate the Secretary on this well-deserved honor. I know that JINSA, Mike, will continue to provide clear, thoughtful, and useful insights into Iran, Syria, and other places that have not yet come to the attention of the public. In thinking about tonight's remarks, I read the announcement about the passing of another American hero, Major General Sidney Shacknow, USA retired. I only met Sid once or twice, but was he ever impressive? His legendary service in America's Special Operations Services, and he was a Holocaust survivor. Not only did he survive, as you had heard earlier, but he escaped the Kovno concentration camp after 3 years of imprisonment, immigrated to America, and then enlisted to serve in America's armed forces to defend freedom and liberty. Beyond his incredible service, Sid was also a member of JINSA's advisory board. It was his idea, correct, to begin its Grateful Nation Award, which recognizes junior members from every U.S. military service for their bravery and heroism. He felt it important that the junior American troops, to whom we have continued to give well-deserved standing ovations tonight, who generally escape the limelight, get their due. Tonight, JINSA honors phenomenal young military heroes with the Grateful Nation Award. Each of these young heroes have gone above and beyond the call of duty on behalf of all of us here. You are our future. Your example, your sacrifice, and your love of America stand as a shining testament to our country. When I look at you, I have hope for the future. With all the cynicism we hear in the news, and with the prognosticators forecasting the end of America, you 6 young folks and those with whom you have served are the hopes of America's future. Major General Shacknow knew of the greatness that our young military men and women can attain. So did Senator McCain. So does Senator Graham. So do we all here. We look forward to following your careers and watching you go from strength to strength, as we say in the traditional Jewish blessing. And that brings me to this National Leadership Award that I am so honored to receive tonight. This is not an award for me alone. It is for you. It is for the JINSA professionals who provide insight and education and facilitate critical relations that enhance America's national security. It's for the foreign policy national security professionals who've devoted their lives to protecting and defending America. And it's for our dear departed friends who devoted their intellect, bodies, and souls to the simple ideals of freedom, liberty, and democracy. Senator Graham, Ambassador Dermer, Dr. Makovsky, I am truly honored and thrilled beyond anything I can tell you for having received this recognition tonight. Thank you.